time.
So I'm here in this boat right now, getting everything on this dashboard marked with what it goes to, right? Getting these horrible switches out so I can take this faceplate to get copied in a different material and make it look nice. And I still gotta mark all these wires here. This is what it looked like before. Okay, it's not going to look anything close to this when it's done, because this should have never happened in the first place. This is disgusting. If your boat's wired up like this, give me a call. I will help you out. But I'm making a power plane with a whole bunch of wires, a ground plane with a whole bunch of wires. So each one of these will get its own single power and ground. There won't be this massive jumper. I already threw a bunch on the ground down there. See, that's how he had the ground and the power jumpered, where these orange ones, the black ones, the red ones. And that's all going in the trash, and that's never going to happen again. So let me finish this and I'll show you what we're doing next. I now have all the faceplate stuff done. I have everything marked. There was a couple that were not connected, like 2 wires that were not connected that I'm gonna have to check, buzz them out, and sort of see where they go. Now we're gonna be moving these switches down here, and there's USB and a 12 volt. We're gonna be moving these up here too, because like if you use a USB to charge your phone, now you got to put your phone in the cup holder when you're trying to use the cup holders, right? So now we'll put this up in this corner, then you set your phone on this pad up here with the USB cord going in up here, which makes a lot more sense. So not sure who thought that was a good idea, but whatever. So now I'm going to take this apart and label everything and go from there. These are the 2 panels I pulled out that had all the switches and everything. It's actually just ABS plastic, hydro dipped. So we don't know if we're going to do ABS again, or if we're going to do aluminum with anodized coating or something. Anyways, so we're going to get the outlines for these to get new blanks, and then in CAD software we're going to take the new parts mixed with some of the old parts, like this piece here, which was like engine speed and temperatures and all that, and move all these breakers out of here, put the new style switches in here, lay it out in CAD, and then we'll just do a laser cut or a water jet, depending on what material we use. Got the new plastic dash here. Got some switches in, the gauges, switches that have to do with fish and stuff. This is a spare USB plug and cigarette lighter setup here. Here's the original dashboard, which you guys have seen. And first it turned into just the outline, right? And we cut it out of this plastic stuff. Then we cut out the holes for the first rev of this. Here's the dashboard, right? And we wanted to fit the CB radio over here, but you know, we had to figure out how to make it fit, right? So then we turned it into this here. So we moved these three here above these and push these down. And so now the final one is going to sit over here like this, like so. And this aluminum is flexible enough where a little simple push of the hand will bend it. So that's not a problem. Now we have a backing plate that's going to hold crimp nuts in here in order to screw it through this one into this one. That way the pressure is not on the fiberglass and you're not trying to thread into the fiberglass. So that's the plan. Now I'm going to get to putting the rib nuts in these and getting that thing lined up on the dashboard, and then drilling a few holes and getting it all lined up and looking pretty so we can send this stuff to get powder coated. This backing plate we're using to hold the two fuse boxes. So we got one here, one there. And then all the wiring is going to go up to the dash from here. But we're just cleaning it up now. And we're going to install this in the boat. I got the mock template plate here. This is the trash one. The powder coating one's at the shop getting powder coated. And so I'm getting the top of this harness done. Got so far all the grounds and the LEDs done. And then I need to, then I have a bunch of wiring that needs to get terminated. Bunch of wiring there to make this all look nice and pretty. I gotta wire up all the positive and grounds, like a radio and all that. Trim tabs, this hummingbird thing here, everything. So this boat's really getting to me, guys. I'm gonna get up this ladder and try not to die. Okay, so the factory dash kit. They make one single factory dash kit for every single one of their boats, okay? So that means no matter what option you have, no matter what you're doing, you're gonna have all the switches for the top tier boat, right? So it really hurts my brain going through their wiring harness and seeing stuff on the dash wiring harness, and then when you get to the boat wiring harness, it's missing pins. Like, the wires are hooked up to a breaker, they're hooked up to hot, they're hooked up to ground, they're hooked up to the switch, but it goes nowhere in the boat because the main wiring harness doesn't even have those pins populated in the circular connector. So let me show you this real quick, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, let me turn this light on, and we're gonna go down here, and this is super cleaned up now. Got our breaker boxes and stuff going on. Look how much room that's in here now. All right, so on this connector, you notice the black holes. That means there's no wires there, okay? They have the little white plugs to plug for moisture and all that. Up here, you notice every single wire is populated? So these, I marked them, right? Live well 1, fill. Live well 1, recirc. Live well 3, live well 2, right? And then these two were hooked up to nothing. One's called SPRD, who knows what that is. And then there was this thick one that was hooked up to something.
who knows what that was, right? So all of these were hooked up to the switches in that dash, and there was nothing for them to go to. So I'm gonna have to cut these wires, get them out of here. I'm gonna have to trace everything, figure out how everything goes. They have these guys here that is like extra stuff, but it's about the same amount of wires that they didn't use in the wiring harness. So I'm like, why did you run extra wire when you could have just had these ran in the wiring harness? I don't understand. It hurts my brain. But, you know, I got to get it done. And my buddy will be happy, and it is what it is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go through it. But it's really kind of shady. And I almost think, like, fraudulent, because it's like, it shows a button that does something, and you're like, sweet, I have this thing. And you flip the switch, but the switch doesn't do anything. So, I don't know. Comment below. Let me know what you think about this situation, and we can have some interaction. I'm saving all the files for this, and so if you have a 24-foot Avenger, well, I think if you have this same center console on any boat, really, but I think the 24-foot and the 26 Avengers have the same center console. I can get you the faceplate, and we can, you know, work out some kind of deal to help you guys out. Look at that. Thing's pretty sexy here. And this is the gauges for the engine. 12-volt lighter. Dual USB charging plugs. VHF radio. Then the one that was down here that they had switches on where your, you know, co-pilot would just smash the buttons all the time is now blocked off. Avenger boats, pay attention. Look how sexy this is. The boat is wired up now. We got everything hooked up. I just turned the power on in the back. And so now we'll just start simple with the key. Dashboard's all working. And then to get the lights on in the dark, you push the dimmable switch. And that lights up all the switches. That way when you're driving, you don't have to stare at lights you don't need in the dark. Hurt your vision. Trim tabs, everything's up. Now to get the radio working, come over here. Push the radio button. And any second now, there you go. Radio's going. And then that just shuts it back off. And then the same thing with all this other stuff. Fish box, live wells. ACC here runs, there's power plugs along the floor. This one has a wrong button. We're waiting on the other button to get shipped. But this is for the VHF radio, for the emergency stuff, weather stuff, all that stuff. And then you got your nav, anchor, light anchor, bilge, horn. Everything else is on this side. All the stuff for fishing is on this side. Down here, got the Hummingbird. And this is a sonar and map quest Google Maps setup. It's not Google Maps, but you get my point. That's just a navigation / depth finder. And that thing will take forever to load in, but yeah, I think it's looking good. The dash plate is not all the way in yet, so let's take a look in here. We got all the wires, all the harnesses done. I got wiring loom on 80% of it so far, so that's looking good. We are glued in this back plate with the nutserts, so once that's fully dried, I'll take those screws out and mount this guy in once and for all, and that'll be totally done. Take off all this tape and clean it up with some Windex or auto detailer or whatever the hell we're going to use. Under here is still a work in progress. Waiting for these little holders to finish drying, and then we'll zip tie the harnesses up. I got some wire loom still to do, and loom it all up against my zip tie places. Over here, the battery chargers, same thing, waiting for these things to dry, get that all zip tied, and then put the covers back on these breaker boxes. Right, so every single thing has its own ground and its own power, so no more jumpers everywhere. And got to vacuum up some stuff, wipe some stuff up, but yeah, for the most part, looks pretty good. There's the switches from the back side. I'm officially done, and I'm officially stuck in this thing. So this is what it ended up looking like. Some of this area is too crazy to put wire loom on, just because of all the different connections of the fuse box and that. But all the places I could put wire loom, I did. Do the courtesy lights? Yeah. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna shut this light off and then show you I have some lights hooked up to the courtesy. So now when it's dark outside, right now this door is open, right? But when it's dark outside, you'll be able to see which breaker is snapped or whatever. And then there's a courtesy light here, and on the other side over there, and we got the cords for these battery charger here. Got it all nice and tidy. So now this entire area is all open here. So here we got a better look from farther away of what it all looks like now. Got the big trunk. You got the big trunk of power, ground, and LEDs. Comes down to their respective spots on the breaker. Here's what it looks like with the cover on. So now you can put life vests and all kinds of stuff in here, and it's not going to mess with the wiring harness. So job's all done. If you want some of this, it's not going to be cheap, but if you want to drop your boat off, I can make it look pretty and give it nice looking buttons and do custom dashboards for whatever boat you need. But like I said, it's not going to be cheap. This was legitimately 40 hours of work, plus parts, plus cutting myself, plus everything else. So anyways, hopefully you liked the video. Hit like, share, subscribe. Until next time, wrench on.